All right. Well, thank you. Lucky you guys. We've got another session on agentic AI, so we can almost carry on the conversation as we're going. We had before, but I want to delve into a few different areas as well. Just to introduce the panel first, we have Abraham, Georgia Karakos, we have Grace Anderson, we have Marco Rossetti, we have Shreya Ruekar, and we have David Ayub. So thank you so much for joining us here today to talk about agentic AI. Now, I know a lot of you were just in this session, but David, I don't know if you were at the start of the session, caught the start of the session previously, but if you did this definition of agentic AI sort of align with yours? If not, how does it differ? Perhaps we just start from there.
Yeah, to be frank, I expect a lot of people here, they heard a lot the term, but to me, so agentic AI is a way for you to boost. Yeah, this is working, right? Yeah, it is. So yeah, it's pretty much a way for you to boost your agents so that they can start doing things for you instead of just generating content. So it's usually built on top of some sort of compound LLM approach where you have different agents doing specific tasks instead of just a single agent doing everything for you. And with that, you also have an orchestrator that is actually responsible for the agentic side of things. So simple example here. So if you think of the creation of a LinkedIn post, for example. So instead of just doing everything one shot, you could try and have an agentic AI approach to this. Something for you to maybe, boost your marketing team, with that kind of capability so that they can start producing better content. So for example, we would be something like this. So you have agent A, and agent A is responsible for creating the post itself, right? So, but you would have agent B, and agent B is responsible for the critique side of things. So it's going to review the post to make a few suggestions, improvement areas, and so on. And then you could end up having agent C, and it's going to be the statistics agent. It'll bring real data, real numbers on your post. So yeah, so this is the compound LLM approach. This is not agentic yet, so you're pretty much splitting the activities, but yeah, you have that. The agentic side of things comes with the orchestrator. So instead of talking to each one of these agents, you would have an orchestrator to try to moderate the conversation and automate everything. So you would go to this orchestrator and say, "Hey, Mr. Orchestrator, can you please create this beautiful LinkedIn post for me? It'll be this new marketing campaign or product launch or whatever. Feel free to utilize these 3 agents I created for you. Use them as you like. Create as many versions of the post as you think it's required, and or until the critique agent is fully satisfied." So this would be an agentic AI approach to the simple task of creating a LinkedIn post.
Great, thank you for that. I want to move us along, but don't forget to send in your questions on Slido, and I can take them throughout this conversation. But Shreya, just talking about, I know at DHL you've been responsible for sort of building agentic AI systems. So organizations, the conversations I've heard, organizations often struggle with data silos. I mean, with the separate systems, separate departments, even different organizations when you look at suppliers. How can agentic AI sort of help unlock these data silos to make them more effective?
I think what David mentioned with the orchestrator, I think that's key in terms of having these data silos. And where do these data silos come from? Because you have 15 different systems bringing same data just from 15 different countries or different areas for the same purpose. And if you are able to create almost like an army of agents in a way that are able to go in and retrieve from 10 sources, understand that data before we used more static harmonization techniques. Now you can go in and have the agents actually harmonize the data to say, okay, now I have, let's say, payroll information from 20 countries that I can put together and then do a market research on this one. That is something that's super effective when we look at this, right? So you don't have to always go in and solve for 20 different systems, but you can build an umbrella on top now to be able to go down and say, okay, now we're able to retrieve the data, also process it, and then address it. So it solves the problem. Does it solve the root cause? Probably not. Do we need to solve the root cause is the other question also now with this, or do we address the root cause when you sunset the systems and move to something else eventually? So there's ways we can address these data silos. However, even if your data is siloed, if it's not good data, nothing is going to be helpful at all. So it's garbage in, garbage out. So you still need to make sure your data is good, but you can solve the silos or address them in one way.
Can I add something on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the real question here is like not how agentic AI can unlock the corporate data. Most of the large corporations, large businesses have like not just like many data lakes, they have oceans of data that you cannot even know. We have like in Virgin Media to probably have petabytes of data from all sides, from network, from usage, from network utilization, from what the customers are doing on their website. The real question is like not how you process the data, because this is like one key part of agentic AI. The real value is like how you translate this data into insights, which is going to generate the actions, because you can have as many data as you like. The problem is the data do not solve actually business problems without how this translates to the chain of insight, and based on this insight, I create a new product, I create a new service, I create a new workflow that reduces my CapEx or OpEx. On the other hand side, how agentic AI can boost innovation by using this data or improving the processes, because it's like liberating resources that usually do some repetitive tasks and they're focusing on new proposition, new services, or how I tap into agentic AI into understanding some patterns that it's humanly possible to translate from petabytes of data, and then how agentic AI can create some product recommendation or whatever recommendation, you name it, that actually contribute towards a key financial metric for my business, whether it's like workforce optimization, EBITDA improvement, revenue growth. The possibilities are endless.
Marco, I mean, just picking up what Abraham sort of talked about there, translating it from data to insights to actions. I mean, how do you feel that agentic AI will sort of change decisions in companies, or how decisions are made? I mean, how do you turn data into actions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, well, the main two, let's say, advantages could be on cost saving or unlocking new revenue streams. So cost saving is the more immediate one. So we can really develop agents and agentic AI to improve the way we are already doing some things. So for instance, I work in Vodafone Italy. We are planning to do that for customer care, so supporting the customer operators in order to be more efficient at what they do. And also for marketing automation, so to using an orchestrator of agents to decide what's the best management for customers. But this is like doing better what we already do. But with agentic AI, you can also unlock new revenue streams. So you can start to do things that today are not possible because maybe they are too costly to do it without agentic AI. So for instance, if you think hyper-personalization, hyper-personalized travel agent, for instance, that give you the best experience you can have for a travel. And not everyone can afford like a personalized experience like that, but with an agentic AI, it is possible since it's cutting costs, so that new revenue stream is available for everyone. So these are the two main areas where it can bring value to the companies.
Thank you for that. I mean, so far when we've talked a lot about the benefits and the gains that you can get from AI, new revenue streams, new innovations, increased efficiency. Grace, I mean, a lot of it.
Yeah, if I may, I was thinking, yes, but this is the technical part. But I would argue that, and the previous speaker said it very well, we can find solutions, right? Build beautiful orchestrators, simple or very complex ones. But in the end, we need to have people using those. And we also need to think that this technology is going to change a lot of time, even full processes. So a process that they were used to do, have been used to do for many, many years might be completely changed. So people also need to embark into that change and do it little by little so they feel part of it and not just something imposed on the top. And I would also advise that when people look at the impact of AI, don't only stop at what is the GP impact, what is the productivity or these sort of things. I believe that in order to make a lasting impact, we need to look at how people are going to react around it. So use other metrics than just even you have the classical product satisfaction and these sort of things, but think even beyond that. Think about employee experience and diversity, how the help on communication and these sort of things as well. So.
Just staying on, thank you for that. I mean, just staying on the human aspect. I mean, there is a couple of concerns that agentic AI sort of mislead users a little bit, particularly around systems and understandings and intentions. And a couple of examples like overestimating sort of understanding. Humans can overestimate the understanding of agentic AI, or there's issues around accountability. I mean, how do we get around these when it comes to agentic AI? These concerns.
Well, I think it's part of the leaders, business leaders, I would say, responsibility. We're bringing this technology into the game, into our environments. So we are responsible as well to train our people to know how to use this technology. And that means the full picture. It means to not only sell them the dream about how they're gonna their workday is gonna improve, but also to tell them what are the risks and the current capabilities it has. Give some examples. There are many chat assistants out there. I'm not gonna name names, but and some people think that these things are magnificent and they can do everything for them, and some forget the fact that they can hallucinate, that maybe data is leaking out, and all of these things. So we need to take a very global approach to the training to explain what are the risks and also build governance and right frameworks so our people know. Because a lot of times they just wonder, they don't know, and they ask, can I do that? Can I do that? So that is where governance is important.
Great.
May I add something to that?
Absolutely.
So I really agree with you about the whole AI agents. You can't really fully let them run autonomously and make a decision. So if we take David's example of the LinkedIn post, it creates a LinkedIn post, it looks at different hashtags, and then it also posts it, right? And that's a big risk, because if it posts something that is not in line with your company's values, then you're in big trouble. However, I think what a lot of the times when we say agents, we have the AI agents, which we talk in this example, but there is the agentic workflow, which is looking at your process and looking at the different parts of your process and saying, all right, my process is 10 steps. Step 2, 4, and 5 are the ones I will have AI agents. And they don't necessarily make decisions, but they take data and move data from one place to another, or they move insights, right? So for example, in recruiting, it may shortlist resumes and say, these are the top 5 candidates you need to interview. That doesn't mean it removes all of the other candidates, but it gives you a little bit on the plate to say, these are the ones you need to start with. But if you don't think this is a fit, then you need to go and look at candidates 6 to 10. So these workflows are the ones we really need to start with, because they're possible today, and they don't take away fully the human part, where we are a bit worried about, not sure if this is the right decision. I wouldn't trust a full AI agent to hire someone for my team, because I need to speak to them, and without an interview, I wouldn't really trust that, right? And so at the end of the day, the agentic workforce is the part, agentic workflow is the part that we would really do now, and we can start with as the first step, as compared to a let's go all in and let's do a full AI agent. And I think that's kind of the more practical step at the moment.
Just building on that a little bit. So you're talking about workflow, Abraham, you've talked about sort of data to insights to actions. I mean, business leaders, and we heard from John in the previous panel about, and one of his first pillars was getting C-level buy-in. So obviously business leaders to invest in this technology need to see its value. So how can you or parts of the business demonstrate return on investment?
That's an excellent question. Actually, this is something we're facing at the moment, not just like in our business in LAN, not just in the industry, which we belong as Virgin Media to the telco industry, but in every single industry. Because, first of all, AI, Gen AI, agentic AI, right now, it's a hype. And everyone is talking about it. But the main question is here. What's the ROI of it? And I think there are like some simple steps you need to take in order to kick off things, right? Don't expect that you're going to go to an investment committee with a billion of revenues. Oh, here's my idea, it's going to bring 1 billion of revenues. But how are you going to prove that, right? I think the best approach is at least to kick off things and make sure that you set the right foundation, because the process of transforming a large corporation from a traditional company to an agentic AI or whatever we call it, Gen AI-driven company, needs to start with a strong foundation, which is basically come up with the top 2, 3, 4, 5 top use cases that you believe as a business leader or whatever you're leading in your company, that it will bring value, whether to the customer, whether to the business you're running in terms of cost savings, for example, right? And then you try to, I won't say like finger in the air, but you need to have some data to back your, let's say, prediction of what's the ROI. Right now, if you ask me, can you be 100% accurate of the ROI? No. That's why you need to start small, experiment, and this is the other important key element of success for agentic AI. Come up with the use cases. Don't try to build everything with a big bang overnight or over 1 year, because this is not going to happen. You're going to fail miserably. Is come up with the idea, come up with the MVP or POC or whatever you call it, experiment with it, prove the value, and then go and ask for more investment in order to bring more revenue back. But don't expect that you're going to wake up one day with these brilliant ideas on agentic AI that it will take just 1 month to implement. It will like improve your business overnight or over the course of 6 months, and the next day your EBITDA will improve by 50%. This is like totally unrealistic, because you need to invest a lot. You need to invest on your workforce. You need to invest on your like workflows. You need to invest on how you do business, how you interact internally, but also how interact externally. And start small, prove the ROI to the point that you want to prove it, and then go and do more.
Does anyone disagree?
Yeah, no, actually, I would like to add just a different perspective, right? Because when you think of ROI, so everyone here is either our customer or a potential customer, right? So CI&T is actually a consultancy company. So we've been around for 30 years now. We are split into 25 different countries. So we think that agentic AI can do anything, really. So this is where we invest. We're putting a lot of money and a lot of time on this. So we have the opportunity to work with different industries across the globe, different sectors, different regulations. So we can build different solutions. And we cover pretty much everything from strategy to engineering. So this is really cool. But 2 to 3 years ago, we created our AI platform tool. So, with the advent of generative AI, this tool is called CI&T Flow. It started with, just generative AI, to try to boost our day-to-day activities, just to try to speed up the projects we were actually delivering. And it was actually really good. We averaged 35% productivity gains back then, so it was actually really good. From the software development lifecycle to lean and agile and management kind of activities. So it was really cool. But then our scope increased a little bit because of course, the success we were having. So we went for this open platform approach. So instead of having a centralized team creating the agents for us, we actually made it so that any AI builder, any developer could create their own agents and upload to the platform. So for example, you are a data engineer. And you created this beautiful agent that makes it easier for you to develop a data pipeline, for example. So instead of just boosting your own project, you can make it available to every other project, every other team in the company. So this is return of investment, right? So you're actually speeding up other projects with the work of a single person. And this is, wow, this is really good. We now have over 3,000 agents, able to cover like hundreds of different use cases. So from our perspective, agentic AI, we can do anything with this, and our return of investment, is actually speeding up our own processes and, delivering more with less.
Do we have, I didn't leave enough time last panel for audience questions, but are there any questions of the audience at the moment? Otherwise, I can carry on. Oh yeah, just one down here, please.
So with the advent of quantum computing, are we going to see an explosion of agentic AI and AI in general? And are people going to be ready for that?
So who wants to?
I can possibly start.
Abraham, do you want to start, and then we can?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. However, is like the question should be what is needed in order to do that, in order to have an explosion. And it's like it's the computing power, like, or whatever the energy that's required to run agentic AI. It's just one parameter of the equation that you need to solve in order to have this explosion, or at least acceleration, because you can have 1 million chips from NVIDIA, which, by the way, is a sponsor, by the way. It doesn't really matter, because you need to understand what you can do with this, because computational power, it's like one element. You need to understand, okay, how you're going to use that? What are the business cases? What are the use cases that are going to use these chips in order to generate what? Again, it's like understanding your data, is how you're going to train your people to do all of these tasks, right? In conjunction, of course, with AI agents, right? I give you an example, right? It doesn't mean necessarily that you need, 1 million of chips, of AI chips, in order to start with agentic AI. Yes, you need some clean data. Yes, you need some processing power. Yes, you need some use cases. But I can give you a very simple example that we have done in Virgin Media. And the problem statement was like how we can increase our conversion rate on our website, basically sell more, increase our revenue by manipulating the display order of our products and also the price. And we came up with this very simple AI agent, which doesn't require that much power, right? Or like 1,000 chips. That basically, depending on your behavior on the website, what you have checked, what product you checked, what prices you're checking, right? Which area you live, because essentially the nature of our business, you put your postcode and we tell you whether it's our products available there and what's the price, what you can get. So we know, using this agent, what is the pricing from our competitors. And then combining this only one model, we can offer you a hyper-personalized experience that, look, Tony, you can have in your area, you get this price with this product, and you know what, we're going to be like £1 cheaper than our main competitor in the area. And this is not any like groundbreaking AI agent. It's like something like really small that doesn't require energy. And again, that's why I said earlier, you need to start small, and you don't expect that you're going to be able to use 2 million chips in order to come up with ideas, right? I think you need to start the other way around. Come up with the ideas, and then how many chips you need, I think is the second step that you need to think and process.
Thanks.
Oh, I just
wanted to say that all these ideas, when you're in telecoms, but when telecoms bandwidth increased, suddenly we got app stores and all kinds of things. So those ideas were there, but they didn't really flourish in the same way. So when the power did come, suddenly you see a flourish. That's all.
Going back to Anna, you go first.
Oh, just a very small comment. Bottom line, I think that the technology is evolving so fast. But we need to remember that humans is not adapting and adopting this technology as fast. So even if we make groundbreaking changes in quantum, I don't think we are ready yet. So I think we can see that in the different enterprises that We are even struggling with AI, classical AI, envisioning a new ways of working. So we still have some time to digest the whole thing.
Yeah, and
Sorry, can I just? I just want to jump in at Marco. I know you were going to respond. Can I just throw in another question at you first?
I think
and then you can do both at once.
Okay.
Because we've got another question here on Slack. So, are you worried about an over-reliance on agentic AI for strategic decisions, not just business as usual? So I guess, what's effective human agentic AI collaboration? What does it look like? And we've heard so much about the necessity for human skills. Well, how do we make sure that agentic AI just isn't infantilizing our workforce? We're actually making sure that the skills are increasing.
I start by replying to the quantum computing. I think, I'm not an expert of quantum computing, but I think that's a whole different level. So that will unlock use cases that you cannot even unlock with agentic AI. It's a completely different scenario. So agentic AI is more for, say, traditional use cases on steroids, maybe, while quantum computing is like things that are unachievable today, basically. So yeah, well, in future, then the combination of both could be very, very, very impressive. But I agree with still early days. So regarding our over-reliance of agentic for strategic decision, that's a very good question because I've seen using maybe ChatGPT or other AIs for digesting information and taking decision too quickly that maybe required more human intervention and more deeper thinking, especially at executive level. So yeah, it's a risk. I think, as we said, that as we all said, that there should be human judgment in the loop. I understand that for agentic AI, it could become difficult because when you have agents interacting autonomously within each other, how can you get the human in the loop there? I mean, they're talking with each other, and it's the power of the approach, right? That they can, in a way, evolve their thinking. But we have to find a way or put a gate somewhere so the human can still control what has been done.
So yeah, just to add to this, what I usually recommend, so it's not to rush. It's not because it's agentic AI that needs to be 100% autonomous. So what I usually recommend is put the human on the loop to try to make a semi-autonomous type of thing. So for example, if you are dealing with PHI data or trading, financial services, that kind of thing. So if you have zero tolerance to mistakes, you can add a mandatory step for a person to review what's going on. So you have this semi-autonomous kind of thing. So you will have agentic AI doing 80% of the activities, but you will have a real person, an employee supervising the activities. This combined to fine-tuning, for example, to give the branded communication of your company, I think they are really strong factors for you to consider.
Yeah,
Sorry, can I? If you're welcome to comment on that, just because
Sure.
we're almost at the close as well. I mean, there are some risks with agentic AI as well. I mean, one being misalignment with company or human values or goals. So what kind of safeguards do businesses need to put in place whilst designing these systems?
So safeguards. So one, we also heard a bit in some of the earlier sessions about the tools itself coming with ethical guidelines. However, I think it's about taking everyone with us, right? So we started with having guidelines for everyone, but as you look into each of the use cases or the projects that you're bringing in, it's also important to understand what do you want from these solutions, right? Is the solution, if you're building a chatbot for your customers, like Abraham mentioned before, having a pricing personalized to you, is that chatbot abusive? Is that chatbot really following the values of your company? Is that chatbot respectful? So there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done. And unfortunately, the answer is not that it's going to be done tomorrow, because as we all know, and we've seen on the internet for years, human creativity is very special. So people will find a way to go around it when you build something. And so we're looking at a very, very long-term view, because we are we're currently underestimating how much AI is going to actually change everything. And at the same time, we're really overestimating what will happen in the next 2 years. This is not about the next 2 years, but we're talking 5, 10 years. We saw this in the dot-com bubble a little bit, where it burst because it happened really quickly. And then people, now, 20 years later, we can't imagine a world without internet. It slows down for a minute, and you're frustrated because something's not loading. And I think we're going to get there, but that's 10 years from now, right? So the journey to upskilling and the journey to building these safeguards is also a long-term goal. So we have to take it step by step, but we're going to get there. So.
Thank you. There's a couple more questions that come in, so perhaps we just go through the panel and get your thoughts on these questions. Both are sort of predictions for the future around agentic AI. Abraham, particularly in the telco space for you, but then also we've got another question about use cases of agentic AI for the service industry. So perhaps taking those two, taking a sort of future-gazing approach, maybe the next 1-2 years, I mean, where do you see agentic AI going? We've only got, try to keep it as brief as possible.
20 seconds. Telco industry and just beyond telco industry. For me, it's like how we reduce the usage of call centers. It's a big opportunity for telco because we're getting millions of calls as expected because we have 45 million customers, right? Second one is, again, how you unlock your existing data to create new proposition and new service, new products. And I would say the future of agentic AI is beyond telco space. You need to understand it's not a panacea. It's going to fix every single problem in your business. Yes, it's going to be a competitive necessity. Yes, it will create a lot of opportunity for you as a business. And probably 3 years from now, the companies that haven't embraced this are going to be in big trouble. And actually, one of the key opening on the opening panel discussion, someone said that agentic AI or AI will divide the best from the rest. And I actually believe that whether it's on telco space or the service industry, I think the more you embrace, the sooner you embrace and you come up with a solid strategy on all fronts, the better for you.
Grace, do you want to?
Yes.
Last thoughts?
I would mention something, a new element here, because we've heard Quantic, but I think we have yet another step that I think soon, or a lot of people are going to talk about, is the combination of agentic with low code. So this, I think, will unlock further possibilities at a scale we cannot even imagine. So I would say advice for the companies. Some companies have already invested in low code upskilling. I would say think about it. This combination is going to be super powerful. So yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm also in the telco space, so I completely agree with Abraham on the customer care bit. I will add the management of the customer base, so like having agents that are able to create value for the customer base and improve the customer experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, I feel that we've done a lot of experimentation on content creation for the past 2 years. And now we're going to see a combination of automation, content creation, along with other technologies, whether it's logic-based automation or RPA, together in the next 2 years. And I think companies that differentiate themselves in this are going to be the ones that actually look at a whole process and rethink their process, so not just patching here and there, so not duct taping it, but actually rethinking the whole process to fix the end-to-end value chain. So I think that's what I see in the next 2 years.
Last but not least.
Yeah, so I would say everything they just said, because we will be there to deliver this to them.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your insights today. Yeah, please give a round of applause for our excellent panelists.